Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Skillset Live. My name is Jason Swore, the editor of Skillset Magazine. That's right, nothing has changed. I have not been fired yet. That's amazing. And of course, I'm here with my co-host, assistant editor, and all-around badass. Wait, what's your name? Oh, it's Ben Turpak. I'm sorry about that.
It's crazy because after that way you came into that intro, I was thinking, man, I'm going to have to learn the new guy's name all over again if he gets fired.
Yeah, exactly. No.
That's going to be tough on me. You know how I am.
I'm with you, Ben.
That kind of pressure.
You get fired, I'm going with you, man.
Oh, you're going to be that guy? All I want to know is who's coming with me.
Yeah, exactly, man. So we just launched Skillset issue 7, right? 7.
Yeah,
wow,
it's
the
on its
summer
way.
issue, man, which will be in stores this week for everybody. You guys, everybody's like, where do I get it at? You can go to a website and find it out, or you can just go to Barnes & Noble. I'm pretty sure that it's in every Barnes & Noble or Books A Millions across America. Worst case, you live out in the sticks and you don't want to travel 10 hours to a Barnes & Noble or try to find a grocery store. You can always just go to skillsetmag.com and get it delivered to your door. No matter where you're at, we will deliver it. But anyway, I digress. Hey, we got a awesome guest on the phone today, man.
We got a good one lined up.
Super excited, and speaking of the magazine, he's in the magazine. So on
Indeed
the phone,
he is.
Yes, he is. On the phone, we got a damn rock star on the phone. I want to say that right now. He's a U.S. Army Ranger, a combat veteran, a founder of the Warrior Poet Society, and the current summer 2018 Skillset Magazine combat entrepreneur. Man, that's an intro. All right, guys, welcome, Mr. John Lovell. How you doing, John?
Yeah, doing well. Thanks for the intro, man. I feel like, man, I can't live up to that. That sounds like a good intro. And I'm like, it's just a little old me here. What do I say to that? So, hey, thanks, man. Good to be here.
Yeah, no, this is great. And like I said, it's perfect timing. We wanted to get you on the show actually previous, months ago. But I'm like, no, we got to hold up. We got to wait till the magazine launches. So now people can actually pick up the magazine after they listen to this and read about you in the combat entrepreneur section. So I'm pretty excited about this, man. Good timing, I'd say, So where are we talking to you at? Where's home base, man?
I'm out of Georgia,
the
Atlanta area.
Oh, all right. Down in the south, man. I like done a lot of time down there. We got a lot of friends down there, too.
We
man.
do.
So that's kind of cool, man. So how's the summer? Sticky and hot as normal?
Man, it's always humid. Truth be told, I'm traveling so much that I almost feel like my house is a hotel. Sometimes I'm just passing through.
Sure.
Not really. I'm probably overplaying it, but I'm a big family guy, and so my time away is felt. Truly. And so anyway, but I've been traveling just a ton. So
we've seen that.
Anyway,
and we're going to cover some of that because you went somewhere recent that I'm really excited about. But I'll cover that down the line here, man. So all right,
good.
We always. We've been saying the Warrior Poet thing. It's Warrior Poet Society. I think right off the bat, we need to get this going and tell our audience exactly what the Warrior Poet Society is. And there's no one better to say that besides you, because if I do it, I'll butcher it, man. So tell us about the Warrior Poet Society.
Sure. It's kind of an everyman's movement. And the whole idea is we're folks that live in a real world. We want to be protectors and defenders of people. So the whole idea of a warrior poet is somebody that lives for a higher purpose and is ready to sacrifice in defense of that purpose. So, whether that's God, family, country, whatever that is, that means we're making efforts to prepare ourselves to physically protect. You can also say a kind of a more metaphorical warrior, which is great as well. But usually it's, hey, we're aspiring to a greater level of lethality. We're also trying to be just good dads and good husbands, good people, good workers, good neighbors, that kind of thing. And also we're trying to grow in intellect too. So there's the philosophical side as well. We're thinkers. So anyway, it's kind of an everyman's movement. It really should stand in stark contrast to a lot of the stereotypical tough guy. Hey, I'm the most dangerous ex-operator guy in the world. Fear me. And
sure.
My pajamas are multicam and I've never cried in my life. So, it's like, shut up, dude. Well, I live in the real world. Let me just be a fatally flawed human being trying to figure it out and grow, failing forward. So that's the warrior poet ethos.
I love that, man, because you're right, man. And it's I make jokes all the time, guys who listen to this, about the beard necks that we have out there, and nothing against it. Those are our fans as well, but it's almost funny sometimes that you see you're right, every head to toe multicam and everybody's so super tactical beards. Don't talk to me because I was a veteran. And it's like, listen, man, know, I did 20 years in the Marine Corps. Please come talk to me. I want someone to come talk to me, man. You know, I'm lonely. No, I'm just kidding. But you know, it's like it's a refreshing look that you have. And I'm not saying that hey, you doing this is your design to look like the gray man, because you do look like the gray man. You know, I would never, if I see you in the grocery store, I would never thought this guy is, you know, former Army Ranger, you know, firearms trainer. You look like you know, you work at Intel or something, man, which is cool because it's I don't know, man. You know, when guys put that persona out, like I'm a tough guy, I got the Grunt Style T-shirts and all that. Nothing against Grunt Style in case that's you're sponsored by him, but whatever. But it's like it's, you know, to me we call those you know, I got a little recon background, but it's target indicators, man. You know, and I like the guy that's just he looks normal, man. You know, and I think you portray that. You got great hair, by the way. Can I say that?
You know, thank you. I wish you wouldn't have brought the hair into it, because it just to everybody out there that's already part of the society, I just want to throw this. I'm more than my hair.
Yes.
You know, there's more to me. I'm not just a piece of hair.
Oh.
And so
So disappointed.
Let's try to not. Let's try to deal a little bit, at least in part, with the man beneath the hair.
I got you.
So, but thank you. I get it.
Yeah, no. So
and if I could back up a little bit of what Jason's saying, I know the reason you've been on my radar. I know when you first popped up on my radar, like I'm new to this thing. Just a little background quick on me, John, like civilian side of life, right? Just a regular guy. And that was when your name first came across my world, you know. It was like, look at this guy. Here he is kind of standing out. He kind of looks normal like me. He's kind of this.
Yeah.
And I actually walked right by you at SHOT and was like, I think we're supposed to talk to that guy later. And it was really refreshing just to see that mindset that all of a sudden there's classes and there's stuff and there's other people that have walked in those shoes in life in the military side of things, but have kind of taken it back a notch to appeal and kind of just be like guys that I would feel comfortable approaching.
Sure. That's actually
good.
Well stated, Ben. That's nice. So, okay. Well, so we said you're a Ranger, right? So, were you were 2nd Ranger Battalion, I believe it was. I'm sorry if I missed.
That's right.
Okay, so
yes,
that's how
2nd Bat. That's out in Washington.
Washington. State. Okay. So, what made you go the Ranger route? And I love asking. Special Forces guys, yeah, okay, whatever. I know why they went that way. SEALs, I know why you went that way. Rangers, I need to know why that was your route you took in the Army.
I'm tempted to. All right, I've never shared this.
Oh, there we go. We get an exclusive Skillset exclusive.
No, this is terrible because I'll get so much crap about this.
Okay, go ahead, man.
I'm going to delve in anyway. So here you go, just for you guys. No one else is going to listen to this, right?
No, well, just us girls here, man. Don't worry.
So, man, every little boys got the special operations pipe dreams. Some little boys never actually grow up, and then they go out to actually have the stupidity and ambition to try it out. And I was one of those little stupid boys that never grew up. And I'm like, yeah, special operations, let's do it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I went that route. And I didn't know anything about Army Rangers because they just don't have good press agents. It's like all the operators don't immediately get out and write biographies, and they don't get the movie deals.
Sure.
They're silent in the shadows.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Anyway, I am taking a little bit of a stab out there.
That's
so
okay.
If you're a SEAL, this is good-natured fun.
Yes.
And I also just want to hit you.
Yeah.
So,
that's awesome.
But anyway, I knew a lot about the SEALs because they get every movie deal ever. And so anyway, that was kind of the very first near goal for me. So I started immersing myself in cold water training, and my self-training process to get ready before enlistment was so intense and so insane of the pain I put myself through just in terms of working out, mental preparation, and a little bit of a it was a pretty masochistic training cycle where it's just lots of cold, torturous water making of like, when I hit the military, I want what they throw at me to be, familiar.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I just grew in this training process to hate cold water so much. I'm like, is there a chance to do the same thing without being in freezing cold water all the time? This is terrible. And I discovered what an Army Ranger was, and I thought I was evading the whole cold water thing.
Ah, joke's on you.
Yeah, truth be told, I mean, I've had hypothermia 2 times in my life. One of them was the very first week in Ranger Battalion.
Wow.
Where I was literally just freezing to death in cold water again. And so then I went through Ranger school, and I was a Winter Ranger. So
there you go.
Anyway, that was just, it was a full month when I left Ranger school. Ranger Battalion is different than Ranger school. Ranger
Correct.
Battalion makes you a Ranger. Ranger school is cool rite of passage. Learn about leadership. It's Ranger school. But anyway, after Ranger school, it was a full month before I had any sensation in my toes. And it was a full 2 weeks before I had any sensation or feel in my fingers. And that's just kind of giving you an idea of like, man, that was a deep cold that took a long time to thaw. So anyway, it didn't actually save me much misery in terms of cold water, but I wanted to be elite. That was for sure. I knew that thing. It was just a matter of picking which branch. And I didn't know a lot about Rangers, but it looked like an aggressive door kicking kind of thing, and I don't know, I just
decided to go.
I went for it.
Yeah. I always say, man, that Rangers and Marine Recon, man, they have a weird like what's it called? Sadomasochism. Well, I can't say that anymore. S&M, like gene inside them, man, because we all go through so much pain and suffering. All right, and to the point you're just like, this sucks. I have never sucked so bad in my life. And then a week later, you're like, man, I can't wait to go do that again. Let's go. What you got? You know, it's just so weird that, and it's and you're right. It's like those two fields, all right? And it seems like Rangers and Marine Recon, there's not a lot of movies about us, you know, and not a lot of we're not in the limelight a lot. You know, we've always been taught to be the silent professional, be the gray man type of thing. I don't know. At least that is in the Marine Corps for us. It was just like, don't show your ass, all right? You know, don't, because every time you open your mouth, you do something stupid or whatever, right? But it's so you learn to be just kind of quiet and do your job and go. We call it suffer in silence, you know. So, and I always, every Ranger that I know, and I have best friends that are from Ranger Bats and all that stuff that are the same way. You know, they're just that. They're a different breed, man, to say the least. So. That's good. How long?
Masochism definitely rings true. So, and it's the graveyard humor kind of thing too, where you're always laughing at your own misfortune. I mean, you dread it like any man would, of just like, this is the worst thing. But somewhere amidst the misery, someone starts laughing, and then everyone starts laughing, and you're like, man, my life is like the worst. And then some Air Force fast mover cooks over your head at Mach 2 while you're humping it up and down the mountains of Afghanistan. You're like, man, that's it. Okay, I get it. I make bad decisions. And this was a stupid life move. I joined the Army. And so I get it now.
I love that you put it out to about being Ranger qualified and actually being a Ranger. And this is something that's a misconception all over the place, because we, you know, even Marines, we send guys to Ranger school, you know, and doesn't mean you're a Ranger. You're Ranger qualified. And that was something that, and I think we're pretty good about that, at least in the Marines we are, about, hey, you know, oh, this guy's a Ranger. No, hold up. I'm Ranger qualified, you know. In other words, I went to the school, but to be called a Ranger, it's you got to serve in the bats, right? In the battalions, correct?
Yes, that's absolutely correct. However, I would extend a little bit of some, I don't know, the right hand of fellowship to the old school Rangers back in, you know, kind of even Vietnam era, where, you know, it was, they went to more of a Ranger school, and then it was based on the skill level of everyone else, and just the times changed. Perhaps that would be more of a full-fledged fraternity member, whereas today and any time in the real recent future, Ranger school's nice, good, all right, fantastic. I'm glad you went. That's saying something. Good job. But somebody with a Ranger scroll is you know, 100 times of higher, you know, rank in terms of who am I taking to war? The guy with the tab or the scroll? I'll 100 times out of 100 say, oh, give me the scroll guy. That's a dangerous man. And the tab may or may not be. I remember a lot of my Ranger instructors in Ranger school. I'm like, I wouldn't have taken the crushing majority of those guys to war with me.
Right.
No way, not even close.
Sure.
And a few of them were really good. And so I'm not trying to rain on anyone's parade. I'm just saying the unit of Ranger Battalion, the 75th Ranger Regiment, is a lot. It's astronomically different than the Ranger School is a rite of passage for us.
Yeah.
It's just a rite of passage. It's kind of like, okay, you want to gain rank and become a squad leader or a team leader. You want your sergeant stripes, then you got to go to Ranger School.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like you go to Ranger Battalion. You're officially a Ranger the moment you show up.
Yeah.
There in your first week. And if you prove yourself over the next year, we'll send you to Ranger School.
Sure. Okay.
And if you fail, you're kicked out of Ranger Battalion.
Gotcha.
And if you pass, then you are kind of, fully initiated and ready to gain rank.
Yes.
And now there's no more stupid reindeer games.
Yeah.
Like you remember the Marine Corps. There was.
I do.
you put in your painful time in the beginning, and then you proved yourself, and you moved up the ladder. But anyway, here we are, drolling on and on about military stuff.
I love it. No, I did. I know. It's I always. Well, it was such a big part of my life, man. Like I said, I did 20 years, so it's like it's hard not to gravitate back to that. I always tell people, I was like, it was like prison. You get used to it. It's not bad.
Gotcha.
You get institutionalized, and it's like, hey, I can deal with this.
And that's great. For me, it's kind of like I don't know. I've just compartmentalized. It's a movie that I once saw. And maybe that's just me mentally trying to distance myself, but it just want to make sure that it's not about what I've done.
Yeah.
It's about what am I doing now?
Sure.
What am I doing in the future? I'm not done now.
Yeah, right.
And you're not saying that. You're not doing. Clearly, you guys are building something of value, and you have.
Sure.
And that's awesome. And so and I guess I recoil a little bit about the impulses. Some folks, they spend their time in the military and they never really move on to a next objective.
Yeah.
And as such, not only is it you're kind of done as a human being, I think it adds a lot to what people think about in terms of a lot of PTSD is really just failure to reintegrate, find a new mission, find a society,
Sure.
a group around you, a family, a near target and a far target, people who love you, being able to meet a civilian on their level of like, I hope I blend in a grocery store. It means I'm successfully reintegrating with civilians.
Sure. And it's
I'm
hard.
blending in, and that's good. And so that's what I want to do. I don't want to stand outside of culture and the society that I'm trying to connect with.
Yeah. I think on that side of it, and I love that you're saying this because it's hard to do that. People think that regardless if you did 4 years or 20 years or whatever it may be, a lot of people, and especially these days where combat, people spend pretty much their whole time at combat. If I did 5 years or I did 8 years and I was in Afghanistan 4 tours, well, that's almost your whole career that you've spent in combat, and they come back and it's rough on them because you have this feeling of, well, society owes me. I gave up, I lost my brothers, I may have got shot, I may have got blown up, and you have this society owes you mentality a little bit, when you come back, and it's not the case, and it's a rude awakening when society doesn't, a lot of them don't care, man. You're going to get the welcome home, we love you, Red, remember Red deployed, all that good stuff, but at the end of the day, that fizzles within even with your friends and your family members, it fizzles after a week, and it's like, well, welcome back. What are you going to do now? And it's like,
right.
And I try to tell that to a lot of transitioning veterans, man. It's like, look, man, don't expect anything, and then if you go with that mentality that I expect nothing from society that I'm going back into, you'd be pleasantly surprised when something does, reward you with like, hey, thank you, sir. Thank you for your service. Or, hey, you know what? You should come work with me, man. I'm hiring vets. There you go. Okay, then there is what's what I'm saying? That's your reward, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man.
And I think the disappointment and the level of letdown that a lot of these veterans feel will be minimal compared to what, I'm saying, though. And I was one of them, man. I was totally one of them. Like, 20 years, I feel like I've, you guys owe me. I should be able to get a job no matter what. Well, it wasn't the case,
Yeah.
And it was, and hence why I went into business for myself at one point, what I'm saying? Or at one point, I guess, whatever. But it's one of those things where it's like, I'm going to have to make it myself. Because I guess I had a little bit of trouble reintegrating, man, I contribute my last duty station to help me out due to I was a free fall instructor. So I was teaching guys to jump out of airplanes, which is about as easy as it gets. You know what I'm saying? I guess
that's a fun job. Good
it
for
is.
You.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You know,
well done.
But a lot of guys don't have that. They literally get back off a plane from over there, you know, killing bodies or whatever they're doing. And it's they do a 30-day or 40-day transition out of the service, and now you're in real world.
Yeah.
And a lot of those scars, and especially mental scars, it didn't go away in 30 or 40 days. So it's a real problem, you know. So
I was thinking of just as you're talking, I'm playing off of it. I'm like, man, you know what would be really cool is if somebody could just really, really quickly give like the top 10 things. Hey, strike these things from your vocabulary. Brand new ETS vet. Once a month, you're allowed to say, when I was in the military.
Yeah.
Don't say that. Stop saying that.
Yeah.
All that's doing is distancing you from the mission at hand. And that's reintegration of society of like, here's your new battlefield.
Yeah.
It's called business.
Sure.
It's called the workplace.
Yeah.
And it's called, relationships. It's called not letting your marriage die
Right.
because you won't, you're treating her like one of the bros in your team room, you idiot. And so it'd be cool to kind of enumerate a bunch of things of avoid using the words when I was in the military.
That's actually
in the military
great.
And so all of these little phrases that continue to further your isolation as you're living in the past.
Yeah.
Of great, you put in your time, however long that was, irrelevant. Of that was that, and this is now.
Sure.
And even if society does owe you, not saying that they do, not saying they don't. I'm just saying even if that were true, there is the disconnect between the idyllic and the reality of the now. And even if it's true, hey, guess what? Life's unfair, and the quicker you realize it, the more you can just get off of your butt and start trying to be smart in how we reintegrate.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to be smart to be married and stay married. Happily ever after
True.
almost never happens. And when it does, it's like a freak. It's like a magic trick. Like, holy cow, wait, you still are making out after 20 years? How did you do that? What was that? Was it a genie in the bottle scenario? What did you do to make that happen?
Sure. Yeah.
And so, and in business as well, and to have long-lasting friends. Anyway, I'm going on kind of my poet rant
I love it.
here.
Yeah.
But I'm interested in the now. I'm interested in the tomorrow. I'm interested in helping people. And I think you guys are too.
Yeah, it makes total sense. In fact, I just today, right now, is this little podcast. I've already used up my yearly I was in the military thing. So,
we were reminiscing a little bit. That's okay.
Ben's over there
okay.
taking notes. He's like,
I took notes.
He's like, it's like a swear jar. That's what I need, Ben.
But like I have other friends that I've seen that have left. I've got a friend that works at Home Depot.
Yeah.
And it took him a while to get used to answering to like people that were younger than him, people that had been there longer and once he kind of started clicking, I know for him what happened with him was like he started just relating it to the military. Okay, that guy's got a higher rank than me because he's been here longer than me and he's done this and and once he came to like kind of terms and grasp that, it seems like it kind of applied to the rest of his life.
Right.
And it kind of got a little bit easier.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's everybody's different and it's hard to and we can go on this whole veteran thing forever. I get that, man. But it's tragic a lot of times. But then a lot of times too, I see people use it as a crutch, and it's like I want to pull them aside and give them a little of that wall to wall counseling type of thing that we always talk about, and then be like, snap out of it, man. No one's going to help you except yourself. And you're a big boy and go do it, or girl or whatever. And sometimes that's what they need, Sometimes they need that military, I guess. I don't know how you say it, advice or a little counseling that way where they're used to that and they're like, hey, snap out of it, man. What I got to do? Thrash you? What I got to do to figure this thing out, man. But and then if slowly they do, man. So anyway, all right, I can go on forever, man.
That's
so
great.
Speaking of business owner, you're obviously a successful business owner, family man, and all that we've established, and a firearms instructor, man. All this. I mean, I look at you as very successful. I know how you perceive yourself is always different because I know people think that Jason, you're balling, you're great. I'm like, no, I'm
Everyone's
not.
their own toughest critic, right? Yeah.
These traits. Did the Army mold you into the person you were, or were you like this prior to going in, and just the Army kind of helped you, being a Ranger, fine tune things?
Yeah, no, man, I was a man in the military. I was not a military man.
Okay.
I think a lot of special operations guys specifically kind of have that feeling as well. Like, no, I'm my own creative thinker. I've got my own comprehensive worldview. And, just to kind of answer, thank you so much for, perceiving me as somebody that's successful. And I really like that. I think you hinted even at the idea of, you included a vocational aspect, a personal aspect, a relational aspect, a family life. That was part of your definition of success rather than just money.
Yeah.
Which means of like, oh, these guys get it. You guys are studs. Good job. If you gain the whole world and forfeit your soul, are you really a success?
Sure. Yeah.
You can't. All your family, you're estranged from all your family on your 38th marriage, but you got lots of money.
Right.
Yeah, that's a failure to me.
I agree. 100%.
And so anyway, you included that. But just to kind of speak to that, because I have a similar view of success of kind of like, I need to be killing it at home. If it's really important that I'm a good dad, that's really important. I want to keep the fire alive with me and Mrs. Poet at home. We're coming up on 12 years.
Nice.
And, still, it's hot and heavy, but we fight too.
Yeah.
And it just, every season has its own new balancing act of figuring out how to be a good husband. And then there's the insurmountable amount of work that's always looming over my head.
Right.
It can be difficult because a lot of times, just to be transparent with you guys, since it's just the three of us
Right.
Yeah. Everybody else, earmuffs.
Yes.
Since it's just the three of us, really, a lot of times I feel like I'm either, doing well at work and crappy at home, or I'm doing really well at work and, you get where I'm saying there.
No, 100%.
Whatever the reciprocal was of what I first said. Anyway, it's always this balancing act. And I think the measure of a man is set your priorities. What are the most important?
Right.
And then balance those priorities so that you're not giving 110% to your job and negative 10% to the family.
Sure.
They need a lot more than your money.
Yes.
Idiot.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, I just feel like a mess a lot of times, and I feel like I'm just kind of failing forward.
Yeah.
But I've got a worldview as well that crafts that, ethos in my inner being of like, ultimately, I don't know where you guys are at. Whatever, but my worldview is I'm a Christian, and so I want to be like Jesus. And the more I get to know Jesus, the more I realize I'm nothing like him. But
sure.
Hopefully a little bit closer tomorrow. And so, I just kind of feel like when that's my standard, man, dude, I'm just a mess.
Yeah, it's tough.
So
it's very tough.
Anyway,
and I get that, and I'm the same way on our side. It's like I try to do the best. I try to make the best magazine. We try to put out the best podcast, and we try. And all of a sudden, it's like, people are loving us. This is the greatest thing ever. But then the next thing I know, look, I'm like, I haven't taken my family out to do anything in 3 weeks, or something like that. And they're so understanding. And the same with you, Ben. You know the deal, man. He has a brand new baby and all that stuff. But it's like, you maybe slow down on one and take care of the other. You're right. You got to. I call it like the scales, right? The balance has to be there. They need to be even. And I think if you make both of them even, not only is your success going to grow, in other words, I feel you have double success, on the family front, and even if you're single, I'm not, and don't have a family. If people are listening to this, I know that's why there's only three of us, but maybe there's an extra guy jumps in. But think about your friends. Think about your immediate family, your mom, your dad, or whatever you got, man. Sometimes you got to stop and remember that. If you are broke or you're unsuccessful in this business, they're the ones you're going to fall back on. That will be your safety net. Like, hey, that's okay, man. Get you back on your feet and all that. You got to have that family backing, right?
Yeah, no, and to like kind of jump off both you guys there, if I'll put my, since there's only three of us here in the room. When the Skillset opportunity came my way, I was at a point in my life where family was meaning a lot more to me. I was suffering at home. You know this better than anyone, Jason.
Yeah.
I was working, 12 to 20 hour days, 6 to 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And it was to provide, and it was to make up for a lot of bad mistakes in the past, a lot of financial instability where I was not being, doing smart things with my money or taking care of responsibilities elsewhere in life.
Yeah.
And when the opportunity came around, sure, we work a lot of long nights here. Sure, we put everything we have into this, newfound love and business and all that. But it gave me a chance at home to be like a better person every day, like I wanted to be to myself every day.
Yeah.
To now for my family to see it.
That's
so
true.
it may only be 5 minutes or 5 hours sometimes.
Yeah.
But they get the best of me for that 5 minutes or that 5 hours now.
Sure. I love that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
I follow Ben's lead a lot of times, man, where I'll sit there and I'll look at Ben, and he's out with his son shooting, or he's out, out in the woods with his family, and I'm like, Jason, stop what I'm doing right now. I'm like, why am I not doing this? And I'm like, hey, this, then I'll do that. I'll grab the kids in the car and like, let's go do something. I don't know, whatever it may be. But sometimes you need reminders, because I get it. It's ingrained in our bodies, man. It's ingrained in our genes that we need to provide, and we'll work our hands bloody, you know what I'm saying, or work ourselves to death, whatever it may be, to make sure there's food on the table and all that. But sometimes, like I said, we overwork. We've got what we needed. Their family's happy. Now all they want is dad back, or mom back, or whatever you may be, So, all right, man, I can go. Well, I get on my soapbox. Sorry, I go down rabbit holes constantly.
If there's any listeners out there who want to catch on one thing, with marriage, date your wife, man. Date your wife. Weekly date. And one night a week, go out on a date and just have fun. And
that's great advice. Dang,
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And if it's too expensive, figure out cheap ways to do it. And if it's still too expensive, then go into dire poverty. But do not don't allow that piece to fall, because all falls with it.
No, I agree. Ben's,
date your wife.
Look
at that.
Ben, stop it. He's going to charge.
I'm the worst
Are
at
you
that.
going to charge us for this advice later? Because
I'm so bad.
I was writing out an invoice now. And frankly, this is a lot.
No, it's well deserved.
Holy cow.
Well, let's talk about your firearms training real quick.
Sure, man.
Which is, that's kind of a common denominator it has with all of us here, because Ben and I are gun enthusiasts, and we know a lot of trainers, and we follow a lot of trainers, and you're one of them, man. So for our audience, so there's 1,000 instructors out there, why would they pick to train with John Lovell?
I'm trying to figure that out still, but I'm glad that they do. So, yeah, great question.
So I don't put you on.
I think in one way is
Yeah.
hopefully, and this is part of the social media growth as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully they find me approachable and a little reminiscent of them. I think they see, of like Warrior Poet Society. It's not follow the Warrior Poet. It's follow be a part of this. It's not mine. I'm the guy that talks your own thoughts back to you, and we grow together. So I think there's one thing of they see me, they listen to me, and it reminds them of something in them, or sharpens something in them. But I think I'm a lot like them. Yeah. When I have a class, I'll have a bunch of dudes and maybe some gals around me as well. But when I look around the circle, I'm like, this is a like-minded group. This is a band of brothers. And there's a very specific culture that's in my classes that's really respectful, that's fun-loving, but also has some seriousness to it. And I mean, they're poets. I mean, like, man, look at this crew. And so I love my students, and they know that. I love them.
That's great.
And so that's one piece. The second piece, if that was kind of the more of the sociological, interpersonal kind of aspect. Right. I think from more of a technical side, there's more to it than the first thing I said. The second thing is different instructors focus on different things. Mm-hmm. So some will focus on gear, like here's the guns and bullets and the whatever multicam gizmo. I don't really care about guns. Are nice. I like guns. I don't love guns. I like them. Right. They're nice. They're tools. Like a hammer or a wrench or a crowbar. They're just tools. Right. I don't, so others will focus on skills, and that's usually kind of your high level competitive shooter. Right. And that's awesome as well. Love that. I've benefited a lot from that instruction. And a lot of that is in my training. Then there's the fitness guys where, going to their classes feels a lot like doing some, insane CrossFit workout, and you happen to shoot some in between reps. Sure. Then there's the tactics guys, and those guys are really, really rare. Yeah. Where they're not just teaching you the skill stuff, they're teaching you how to hunt people and counter ambush bad guys. Right. The tactics, it's the fighting smart, and that is a really rare one. And then there's the mindset one. And that's the people who are actually going to mentally and philosophically prepare you to do what is very unnatural, and that's to take life to protect life.
Right.
So what I major on in my training is the tactics and the mindset aspect.
Nice.
So, you know, when you come to me, I'm going to try to get the whole man ready to actually truly defend yourself against a bad guy that is inherently cheating. Bad guys are cheaters. They're ambush hunters.
Right.
So you can have the greatest pistol skills in the world, and Joe Banger ambushes you. You never saw it coming, and you die. Mm-hmm. And in fact, a lot of cops who get in shootouts with bad guys, the cops die and the bad guys don't. And you're like, how is that possible?
Right.
It's because the cops who are the better marksmen maximize skills, where the bad guy who gets to go first ambushed, and it was a tactics advantage, and tactics trump skill.
I agree.
Tactics trump everything except mindset, and mindset's the mother of them all. And some of the listeners who maybe this is still a little bit nebulous, still a little bit ethereal, you'll just have to come and see or listen to more me expound more on this on just my YouTube channel. I've got tons of stuff on fighter mindset to kind of let rubber meet the road in what I'm saying, where you'll be able to like, okay, that's what I get what he's saying there.
Sure.
Because that's the overall arching thing. I've seen a lot of people, not a lot, I've definitely seen people who were very skilled shooters that when I saw them under fear and stress, they cowered. Yeah. They weren't able to do what they could do flawlessly on the range because they hadn't developed appropriate fighter mindset. And then skills, learning how to cheat to win.
Yeah.
Be in the right place at the right time with the right mindset. And if you can master the science and the art of tactics, holy cow. And then all of a sudden you put some skills on that too.
Sure.
Man, that's a dangerous animal. You never even saw him coming.
Yeah.
Very dangerous.
I agree.
And so
wow, I love that.
I focus on that.
Yeah, I love that you do, man. I think the mindset side of it, and then of course I always call it like a preventive measures, man. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, the bad guys they're very rarely are they going to telegraph and let you know that we're getting ready to get in a fight. Yeah. You know, I'm getting ready to rob you or shoot you or whatever. But the soft skill side of it and being able to read a situation, read or you know what I'm saying, or something like that, where like, or read where you're at right now. Like, this is probably not a smart move to go down this dark alley in the 2 a.m. where there's some whatever. There's things like that I think that people I wish more would teach. But then again, I may have to go down that dark alley because there's something. A, someone needs me. B, that's the only way I got to go. So now I need to prepare myself mentally for a fight, and whether it's a gunfight, whether it's a whatever it could be. It could just teaching that is way more important than how fast I can draw and put X amount of rounds in a tiny hole. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. Putting people under that duress, putting them into stress, putting people. Hey, you may never have to get in this fight because you can do this X, Y, Z to prevent it. To me is way more important than once again punching holes in paper, man. So, but you teach a lot of cool courses. I went down your list. Obviously, your pistol and different levels of pistol, obviously, and rifle, but you also teach a one-man clearing course, man. Fill us in on that real quick.
Man, that's kind of like the big elephant in the room, or maybe not. It's the big missing piece that if you ever get in a fight, guys, it will not in the civilian context. I'm not saying you guys, I'm saying just all of us, If you get in a fight, it's going to be in or around structures.
Yeah.
I mean, think of where you go. You go to, where do you go? Coffee shops and, your office.
Very rarely you're going to be wide open desert and you're getting in a gunfight. I agree.
Yeah. Everywhere you go, it's a room clearing problem.
Sure.
And because of that, because we're always around structures, if you survive the ambush, the first 3 seconds of a fight, you're going to find yourself behind cover and concealment. And then it's a room clearing problem. How good are you at playing those angles and understanding the relationship of space, distance, angles, and time against a thinking bad guy?
Yeah.
In a 360-degree environment, while fear is breaking out and confusion has awoken fear inside your bones.
Right.
It's like it's all a room clearing problem, and it feels nothing like the flat range.
Sure.
It feels nothing like the flat range. The flat range is a place where we learn our ABCs so that we'll be able to read Shakespeare later.
Yeah.
I know I'm going way metaphorical, but
No,
here
I like it.
Shakespeare is the fight. And if you are just taking pistol one over and over from your favorite celebrity instructors, recognize it's kind of, it's kind of like taking the fifth grade over and over again.
Sure. Sure.
That's not the fight. A one-man room clearing, it is a lot more of for civilians or patrol cops who are trying to, get ready for a fight that may be coming. So it's tactics, it's mindset, do force on force. So a lot of it's kind of like, hey, great, you don't take my word for it. Here, put on force and force gear, try it, and let's see what happens.
Sure.
So we just do lots of fighting.
I love
as well as the theory. So the first thing of like, hey, all right, guys, get in a fight. All right, everybody lost. It was terrible. It's horrible. All right, let's walk through some principles.
Sure.
See how this works. See why. Don't take my word for it. All right, put the gear back on, and let's get in some more fights.
Correct.
And I'll craft scenarios and making it sound a little bit more simplistic.
Well, I like how you do that because it's very important because you can teach me team tactics all day. I can teach Ben team tactics all day. You know, stuff I learned from. Boy, I said the military thing again. Dang it! No, anyway.
You can do it.
But honestly, when all of a sudden Ben gets a call from his wife who's down the street, like there's a window open, Ben. There's something that,
Yeah.
Are you going to wait for the team to show up? Who's the team? Me?
Right.
I'm old and fat. You know, I mean, you're going to take care of it yourself. So you are going to do, like I said, your own house cleaning. You know, I mean, I've done it probably, I don't know, dozens of times where. I don't, my wife's called me something's weird noise in the house or a door slam, what it could be anything. And that's my job is to go in there and actually, and I'm nervous. I mean, I've been in fights before, man. It's like I'm still nervous because I don't have backup. I don't have my team. I don't have a platoon of pipe hitters outside that are no problem, or whatever, going to take care of the issue. So you're right. That's why when I saw that course that you offered, I'm like, this is brilliant. This is something that it would be the first course that I take. I mean, I should brush up on my pistol skills or whatever, rifle skills a little bit better. But it'd be definitely in my list of courses I'm taking from you because to me it's the most practical. And at least if anything could help me prepare or Ben or anybody out there, you know what I'm saying, to what are you doing? You're defending your family, or your home, or office or whatever. But I think it's brilliant that you teach that, and that may be something that we
got a one-eyed blind kitty in there. She needs me. She's only got one.
There you go.
Eye, and it's only kicking at 20%. It's up to me to go in and make sure she's all right.
That's true. Ben's got tons of rescue animals.
Hey,
you got to. No, that's good, man. You got to save him, man. That's your job, right?
Are you a crazy cat lady?
Kind of became one. Does it qualify if you build a house for the strays outside?
Yes, I'll answer that for you.
A lot of folks will learn room clearing tactics, whether it's the cops learn, room clearing tactics from usually the SWAT guys who teach them stuff, or a lot of the military guys get out. But the tactics that are being employed for those room clearing scenarios always hinge on having a team with you.
Right.
So if you don't meet the one prerequisite required for those tactics to work, a plurality of people, you don't have a team. It's just you.
Yeah.
What it means is those tactics no longer work. And all you do is rush into your death if you don't have the first or second element of surprise on a bad guy. If you got the first element of surprise, they had no idea you were even coming. No clue.
Yeah.
Which puts you a little bit more of that means you're really part of an assault force. So it's hard to marry a context for a civilian that they would even be doing that. But if the bad guy had any inclination and they're pointing at that fatal funnel, that door, and you rock through like you've got a team with you and you don't, it is pathetically easy for the bad guy to track you and shoot you.
Yeah.
And so what I'll have is ex-military guys who get out and they'll all of a sudden just fall into their own old rhythm of room clearing training in a force-on-force context, and they just get chewed up in the shoot house.
I believe it.
And there's a little bit of a crisis, and I say, no. What you've learned is great. It still works. Don't despair.
Yeah.
It just works for a team. You don't have a team now.
Right.
So what do? And they give me a blank look, and I'm like, good news. I can salvage some of what you've learned.
Yeah.
But I need to change your rhythm, your timing, your speed, your distances. some of the rules of like, don't go into the center of the room no longer apply. Why not? You don't have a team with you.
Right.
You can do anything you want. You own whatever room you own.
Yeah.
And so once you kind of, I'm able to control and give them the one-man room clearing principles stuff, then all of a sudden they take off like a shot, and it greatly increases their chances. Now, if anybody's listening and be like, ooh, let me sign up for that, you got to make sure you have adequate prerequisites in pistol or rifle training or both. But if you're really, really switched on with pistol, I'm not going to have to fix a grip. You can shoot, fast and accurate. You're managed recoil and stand. You've done that. Well, then great. Come on. I don't want to deal with that stuff anymore.
Sure.
This is not that. This is so. If you do that with pistol or rifle, then you could get in a room clearing class. They're pretty tough to get into, but if you meet the prereqs, love to. Anyway.
Yeah. You're like sold out all over the place, man.
I saw that. I saw that on the website.
Which is great. That's just say something about your training, man. You know what I'm saying? And yes, you're right. You got to learn the basics first on anything. I don't care what it is. I mean, from martial arts to driving a car. I'm teaching.
Absolutely.
I'm teaching a 14-year-old girl to drive a car right now, and it's like last thing I'm doing is telling her I'm putting on a highway and going. We're sitting in a parking lot going J-turn. Yeah, we're going 10 feet, stopping. 10 feet, stopping. And stuff like that. And that's what you need to learn first. And I agree when you're saying that. Hey, because a lot of our listeners are the guys and girls that maybe have one pistol in the house that for protection. They're 100% gun friendly, but they're workings, man. They're working men and women. They can't get out and shoot a lot, and so take that first course. Take that basic pistol. There's nothing wrong. I take basic pistol courses. I've been shooting for 30 years. Because you never know what you're going to learn. And it can't hurt to brush up. And then once you're feeling confident, then try to get in that next course. Try to get in that one-man course or whatever, who knows what else you're going to be teaching, down the line here, man. So, and of course, it goes to other instructors as well. Everybody has a different ways of doing things. And so there's never just one way. And I always tell people that, man, soak up everybody's stuff. Soak up everything, and worse, knowledge can't kill you, man. Not having knowledge can get you killed, I just made that. Ben, trademark that. All right.
I like that.
That sounded deep. Nope. I had already written it down before you said trademark.
Nice, man.
Sorry, bud.
That's all right.
Faster than that. A little slow on the draw.
I hear you.
Shooter.
Dang it. All right. Hey, you also do one more thing I saw on that was your Warrior Weekends, man, which is it's like a training retreat, right? Is that what it is? What is that? What do you guys do there?
Yeah, so really it's just kind of typically those are private courses and somebody who's got a network of friends and a good chunk of land. And anyway, we deliver it back and forth. That's something I usually do about 3 times a year. I just did one in West Virginia. Usually they're private courses. And so and so I have somebody that kind of leads the charge on logistics and
I gotcha.
retreat. And I'm planning one in Colorado.
Yeah.
But that's not on the books yet. But that would be a private thing of like, I want to get in that. Of like,
I got you. Okay.
That's tough to pull off because it's an overnight. I mean, we're out there hanging out around fires and chilling and stuff.
Is it like that? Is it like getting around the campfire and just?
Very, very much a men's retreat from like a church type setting.
That's what I'm saying.
Doing those things in the past.
Right.
Exactly, and we integrate, some type of training as well. So
That's
the training may vary. I mean, if the guys wanted to do something in the dark, training wise, or they wanted to do pistol and rifle or some force on force stuff. It's just kind of like, whatever. I don't care. Let's go do some vehicle work.
That's cool.
Yeah, sure. Small unit tactics and stuff.
Yeah.
Of like, hey, let's do some recon. Let's patrol.
Sure.
Let's, and so we just kind of,
so
whatever they want. I don't really
cool.
care. But, anyway, that's not something that's really for the masses. That's,
Well,
when I first went into business, I'd been working for a different company for a while as their trainer. It was like a windowless building, and I just, I don't know. I wanted to get outside, and so I'm like, hey, what if I could just go make a bunch of money camping, and I'll teach some on the both bookends of the campfire. And so that's what I did. And
that's cool.
I like doing it a few times a year.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, that's neat that that's something that you offer, and I love that, man, because that's to me that sounds interesting too.
I like it.
All right, skill set retreat. I'm feeling it. All right. Hey, speaking of training. I had to mention this before we get off the phone here today. You were at my hero's facility recently, and you know who I'm talking about. Mr. Clint Smith.
Say it anyway.
Clint Smith from Thunder
He's
Ranch,
awesome.
baby. Oh, how long have you known Clint and Heidi? Because I love those two, man. I mean, it's literally I'm like fanboy when it comes to those guys, man. So, how did that all work out, man?
They first reached out to me, which was very flattering.
Yeah.
Probably something like 10 months ago or a year ago. We just kind of went back and forth on email and
Sure.
whatever. And whenever there was a show, whether it's SHOT or NRA, we'd say hello. And Heidi, who's really the person who runs it, Clint talks, but Heidi runs Thunder Ranch.
Oh yeah, I know that.
Clint's there. Heidi is the boss there.
Yeah, it is true.
But,
yes.
Yeah, Clint is the legend. Heidi makes it all happen now.
Right.
So anyway, she got me out there and brought the family up, and we just taught some classes together. So I taught a pistol 2 class, and then he taught a home defense kind of class the next day, and we were both students in each other's classes.
Oh, that's great.
Which was really intimidating for me.
Yes, that's gotta be a little
Here's
rough.
Clint Smith, the legend, and he's on lane 14.
Wow.
Watching me and judging me with his
Yes.
angry eyes and his brain filled with all kinds of stuff I probably never heard of. I'm like, great.
Guys, let me throw this out real quick. For anybody who doesn't know who Clint Smith is, Clint and Heidi Smith, Thunder Ranch, you guys, you have to go follow him on Instagram, go to YouTube, just watch and just listen to this legend. And he's an old Vietnam vet, former LEO, has been shot. He's dude's got experience beyond experience, and the way he teaches, he's very cynical. Be careful when you're at work, when you turn on the radio or turn on the YouTube, because it's so awesome the way he speaks. It reminds me of being a Marine and probably a Ranger too, what you've dealt with in the past. But it's the guy is so knowledgeable. He's such a good teacher, and he's just cool. He's just cool. And when I saw you two together up there, I'm like, what? Wait, hold up, what's going on?
Yeah.
Why am I not there right now? I'm a little upset about this.
I was the guy that caught some of you guys up there on IG Live that just sat back in my garage, my shop that night, and was like, "This is pretty cool."
Yeah.
Like watching these two talk and interact.
It's so awesome.
It was really fun. I learned a lot. Great experience. And I was able to interview him. It's like a 30-minute video on my YouTube channel. So if anybody wants to see it, it's got a really funny intro bumper. I had an idea where I was going to imitate him, and it's like try to find another video anywhere in existence where someone makes fun of Clint Smith.
Yeah, I think
they wouldn't dare, because it's like you've heard of suicide by cop. That's suicide by Clint. There's just you don't do that.
You did so great, by the way.
Yeah, we've seen it many times. Here at Skillset HQ.
We've added about 100 views to that just through Ben and I, because we were laughing so hard just because of when I'm watching you do it. And I don't want to spoil it for the people doing it out there who hadn't seen it yet, but when you're doing a great impression, by the way. And then I didn't expect all of a sudden to see a little head pop out of the back, and it's Clint. and I won't ruin it for everybody's watching, but it's hilarious, man. So that was awesome.
When I had the idea to do that, and again, it's on YouTube, guys. Look up John Lovell, Clint Smith, or just check out my channel. It was like 10 videos ago too, so you can check it out. It's in the first minute or so. But I had the idea to do that, and I'm like, man, that would be so funny. I can't stand it. But when I had to, and still, I didn't know him very well, and so I'm like, all right. So I had an idea for a pretty funny video, sir, if you will kindly not kill me for it.
Yeah.
And I mean, even just because I had to share the idea of what it was with him first.
Yeah, sure.
And he wasn't smiling.
Right.
He wasn't, and so it was pretty awkward. But he was gracious. He was really fun.
Yeah, and they're great. We're getting up there soon ourselves. Everybody was like, "You guys got to interview Clint Smith," and I'm like, I have to go there. I can't do it over the phone. We need to go there and sit down with him and Clint, or him and Heidi, and just that's the way. That's
I know
experience.
It's been in the works and talks for a long time around here at Skillset, and it's just been one of those things where it's like, if it doesn't happen in person, we don't want to. No. We don't even want to approach it. It's got to be in person.
We're looking forward to that, man. So let me throw this one at you real quick, and not to. I'm all smiles and laughs, but I want to. you're very vocal about being a man of God, okay? And unfortunately, I feel that that's almost taboo for a public figure these days. And I know I hate even saying that because I'm a religious guy myself. I'm not as practicing as I should be and all that stuff. But have you ever got pushback because of your faith? I mean, because it seems that way. It's this day. It's like you're almost afraid to say, "Yeah, I'm a Christian." You know, how's that work for you?
Yeah, great question. And man, I'm on a journey as well. So though, yeah, I'm like, hey, I love Jesus. I want to be a lot like him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not right now.
Sure.
Hey, dude, I'm figuring stuff out. I know what I believe about him.
Yeah.
But yeah, regardless. Yeah, of course I've gotten tons of pushback.
Right.
It is very, very unpopular and an extremely offensive thing for someone to believe in. Whether it's kind of people equate it with some anti-intellectualism, which
Sure.
it is certainly not.
Right.
Nobody thinks it's bad form to take pop shots at Christians.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if somebody were to say something negative about someone in the homosexual community, holy cow!
Oh yeah.
That'd be like
Game over. Yeah.
It would be devastating. It'd be all over it'd be horrific.
Sure.
But if someone wants to make fun of Bible or Christians and say, yeah, have at it. It's open season. It's like hog hunting.
It is.
There's no rules. There's no limits. Just take out as many as you can. And so,
right.
Anyway, I have felt that pushback. I'm real careful. I'm not thrusting anything upon anyone. And
Sure.
so a lot of people in the Warrior Poet Society, I was careful to define exactly what that meant. We live for higher purpose other than ourselves. It's like you're not trying to be the most deadly savage in the world because you're, love killing people. It's you're wanting to sacrificially serve. And so whether you're kind of like the Eastern philosophy of the samurai, you're an atheist who hates Christians,
right,
or an atheist that doesn't. I mean, you're
right.
You're kind of a spiritualist, or you're a Christian, whatever.
Sure.
Whatever. The society is big. I happen to be a Christian,
right?
But man, I got friends all across the landscape, and so I don't really care. I'd like a good, if y'all want a conversation, I think that's really, really important conversation. I think the two most important questions in life are, who is God and who is man?
Right.
And no matter who you are, those are the two most important questions, because from those roots right there, I can find out what you presuppositionally believe about everything. That's the root that everything flows from. And so, from at least a philosophy standpoint,
sure.
Anyway, so I've certainly gotten pushback my entire life about that. My entire Christian life.
And I figured it's just weird. That's an issue this day. It's weird. I had to even bring that up these days, And once again, I'm I guess you want to call me a crisis Christian, right? One of those guys back in the day where for the longest time, I grew up going to church, that same with Ben. And then
Absolutely.
you break away from it. For me, in the service time frame, I wasn't religious at all. Until, toward the end when the wars kicked off and then things happened, and I'm not, whatever, we're going to get into that, but it's things happen, and I'm like, well, someone help me on this. And I don't know, so my belief kind of came back. And once again, I don't practice. I'm not, one of those guys, but I do believe there is a God out there that, and all that stuff. And just saying that right now on the mic, it's like, I feel like, okay, I'm probably going to get some heat on this, man, which – 20 years ago, I wouldn't have done. I wouldn't have even worried about that. But it's just weird, man. I mean, you're right. And there's certain religions that you can't. If you say something about it, you're going to get chastised. But it seems like the Christianity side of it, people, no problem taking shots at it. I laughed the other day. We watched, what was the TV show, awards? Was it Chris Pratt? Who was it?
It was Chris Pratt.
That jumped up there, and
I sent that to you. I was like, you got to see this.
And it shocked me. It shocked me. I loved what he did, but it shocked me that the reaction of the world afterwards, how even in the crowd, you see, like, I don't know who the host, one of the hostesses up there, and you just see her, as soon as he said his last little, whatever he said, about this, the faith and believe in God, and you can just see, like, oh my God, I can't believe he's saying this, and it's like, what, really? That's where we're at right now? Is that bad that you can't say that you believe in God, and guys, follow what he said, but it just, I don't know. It's a sad day that I think that we're in, that your religion can offend somebody, you
Yeah.
know, and it's like
Very good.
Yeah, so
It's odd. Like we do this. Like I do the vacation Bible school every summer, and I get those looks from people like, "You do what?" And it's just like, why is that a strange thing to hear come
Yeah.
out of my mouth?
Yeah.
Like why is that weird to you?
I know.
I did some videos on this topic early on too, like when we first kind of launched the channel.
Yeah.
And I called the videos on YouTube "God and Gunfighting." And then also I did another video, "Testimony of a Gunfighter," but God and Gunfighting, because people want to compartmentalize, the spiritual side or the religious aspect of people as if it's some category that you can divorce from the whole man. I am a whole man.
Yeah.
Meaning, all the different parts of me, the worldview, all come together to make who is John and
Right.
who are you listening in. That in war, in gunfighting, your religious beliefs, your spiritual beliefs are crucially important.
Sure.
And I can really quickly kind of underline that as well, just with a quick little, hey, have you ever heard the expression, there are no atheists in foxholes?
Yes, I have.
Everyone's heard that. Why has everyone heard that? Because it's a complete fabrication,
Uh-huh.
or because there's a kernel of truth to it. And even if there's a kernel of truth, now, do I believe there's no atheists in foxholes? Of course I don't.
Right.
There's atheists in foxholes, but there's a kernel of truth in it. And what the kernel of truth is this, that when people are faced with their own demise, they reach out outside themselves.
Yes.
That there is a cry for help in your most black, fearful moments. And so for me, who's trying to build realistic fighters, what I have to deal with is all the things that make you freeze when you go to rescue someone else or when you're faced with the idea of your own death.
Right.
So you can be all happy-go-lucky, there is no God, and then you're on an airplane, big hit of turbulence, and the atheist is praying under his breath, oh, please, God, oh, please, God,
Sure.
oh, please, God. There's something there we have to contend with. If in your darkest moments you cry out for God,
Yep.
that means the subject of religion and God is relevant for gunfighting, because that's where your mind and your spirit go when you're fearful. Now, I don't want to bottleneck there because your spirit or your mind has some type of unresolved conflict, an unresolved question maybe
Yeah.
of what happens, or am I good? Or what I want is somebody who doesn't hesitate,
Yeah.
someone who doesn't freeze, someone who is already, asked all they wanted to of God, or there's not that question there.
Sure.
I need people who are ready to die and ready to kill,
Yeah.
killing the right people, the bad people that need
Sure.
need killing.
Yeah.
An active shooter comes up and kills a bunch of people. I don't want you hesitating because you have a moral, philosophical, or theological objection to taking life.
Sure. No, I agree.
And I also need you ready to die because, what's worth dying for? Is there anything? What happens after death? Those are the questions that all of a sudden flood to the surface when people are faced with their own demise. And it is the wrong time
Yeah.
to ask those questions in your final moments.
Yeah.
And so what happens is you freeze. Back to you.
Yeah. Sorry, I froze. No, I was thinking, but you're right. I was thinking my own situation, where even, I did the same way. The same thing where, and once again, I want to get into it. And I'm sure our fans are surprised that I do believe in God. I do, and that's just what I am. But it's even if it's not true, John. Let me just tell you, even if it is. There is no Jesus, there is no God, there is no Muhammad, there is no whatever. Inside of me, in that certain situation that I was in, and I found myself who, throughout the years, I don't want to say I was an atheist, I just didn't care, And then all of a sudden, I was in a situation where, yes, I thought me and a few other people were going to die, and I prayed. And then when no one died, thank God, and afterwards, I've sat there, I'm like, what? That's weird. Because I've never done that before, but I've never been that scared in my life. And then I'm like, you know what? Even if there isn't a God, even if there isn't whatever, it felt good. It felt that I had someone there that I could talk to in a time that I thought this was in. I was, and then from that point on, I continued to pray, everyone, or whatever. And I'm not afraid to say that. And it was weird to say that I shouldn't even be explaining myself on this, but it's sometimes it just feels good, and it makes me feel good. And I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or the experiences I've been in, but it's there's nothing wrong with it. In other words, what I'm trying to say, it's if it's something that helps me get through a time, and I know other people out there are saying the same thing, it helps me get through a hard time, and sometimes praying doesn't work out. That's just life, and but it changed me a little bit, man, and it's unfortunate that it's a sore subject. It's a hot topic. It's it's something like that these days, and it scares me. That's the way we're going in this world, man. But wow, I'm sorry. I don't mean to bring down the podcast. We're having such a good time. Sorry, I had to say this, man. I had to get this off my chest.
No, I think it's great. I think I'm with you. I just think it's tragic that certain subjects are taken off the table as faux pas. I mean. Yeah. My parents' generation had a different idea. It's kind of like, hey, do the work. Don't rock the boat too much. Sure. It was don't talk about God, money, or politics.
Right.
Because people just get heated up and in a tizzy. And I'm kind of like, well, you just removed everything that was really of substance. How long are you going to talk about the weather?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's something more important than keeping the peace, and that's finding truth. And that inner purpose. And so let feelings and kindness and hate speech, all of that take, I said that a little sarcastically.
Sure, I guess.
Because I don't believe in hate speech as it's currently defined with its political agenda.
Right.
Of all that should take a back seat to the higher ethic of truth. What is true?
Yeah. I like it, man. I like yeah, wow. There's a lot of things for me to even reflect on this, man. Just listening to this, and I love where you're going, man. I love what pardon the pun, I love what you're preaching, So, but it's awesome, and I think we need more of that, I really do. And I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to get too, let people. And I'm a big, firm believer in not pushing it on people. If you don't believe in it, or you believe in a different, you're a Hindu, you're a Buddhist, you're a Muslim, fine. It's fine. If it's invited, if I'm asking about it, like, hey, what's what's that whole religion about? Then it's time to come in and preach or whatever, and explain to it. And I'm one of those guys that's, you want to know, ask me. That type of guy. And I think you're kind of the same way, which is I appreciate, man. So, all right, what's next for Warrior Poet Society, man? Before we get off here, what's the future looking like?
Man, we're doing all kinds of stuff. I'm pacing around the office right now, but about to launch a big commerce site. Our website's been crushing it.
Nice.
Got blogs going on, and we're on Instagram and Facebook growing, and
sure.
YouTube is just crushing it. We're doing more product sales and apparel, cool stuff. And
you got great logo, by the way.
So we're doing a lot more of the same, put more training out there and
nice.
Traveling. And so it's that stuff. I'm mulling over the idea of doing a podcast, but I don't know.
I think you'd be good at it. I think you would kill it, man. It's you're very interesting to talk to, and I think went over, what do we go, an hour already, Ben?
Yeah.
Or actually went over what I normally go. So this is how wrapped up into it. So I wouldn't put that podcast idea on the shelf. I would take a look at it, man, because you probably do a good job. So anyway, listen, I know you're a busy guy. We'll let you go. Guys, go to warriorpoetsociety.us. That's his website, and you can see all the classes. If there's any room in any of them, sign up, and you'll get do all that stuff that you're going to get updates on John and where he's at, and hopefully you're somewhere where he's at, and you can get in one of his courses, and or just talk to him, man. And of course, follow him on Facebook and Instagram. It's at Warrior Poet Society, and we mentioned YouTube a couple times. You just search Warrior Poet Society or John Lovell, I believe, right on YouTube, and you got tons of well-produced videos. By the way, it's not. I'm taking a page out of your book. I'm sitting there looking at our stuff. I'm like, we probably need to up our game a little.
Logos are great. Title sequences are great.
Yeah, I know.
Like the editing's on. Like it's just awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
Well, I'm looking at y'all's magazine. Don't sell yourself short. What y'all do? Y'all are the big thing y'all are doing. You're crushing it.
Yeah,
I mean, have you seen page 53?
Oh,
Holy cow, you guys are amazing.
I bet it's a good
spoilers,
one.
Spoilers.
That's right. There you go.
I mean, no bias.
Yes.
On page 52 and 3.
Oh, that's
no
awesome.
bias.
Yes.
You guys make a great magazine.
Well,
Very
thank you,
impressed.
and
Killing
thank you for being part of it, man, and thank you for jumping on the.
Yeah, I'm glad we can finally get you on board here.
Yeah,
man. Like, I know we were trying to hook up there for a while, and it was great having you today.
This is awesome, man. So once again, guys, go follow John and and follow what he does, man. He does some good stuff, and we hope to hear from people that actually been to your stuff before too. I love hearing when people come back and they're like, "Dude, thank you for that, because it was that was the greatest experience," or this happened, and I love that, man. So, anyway, all right, John, thank you again, man. Ben, take a quick little break.
Yeah, why not?
Okay,
Let's do it.
Take a little fast little break, guys. So we'll be back right after this.